Hey guys, I'm Ajinkya Dikshit and this is my channel, A Jinxed Artist. First of all, thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. We have crossed 1000 subscribers and it's great. A Jinxed Army is 1000 people strong. So thank you. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe now to make the army bigger. Today I'm going to show you how I edit my birding photos in the Camera Raw filter. Usually this filter or this plugin is available for Lightroom or Photoshop. So let's get started. As you can see, this is an underexposed image of the Vigor sunbird. This is an endemic bird to the Western Ghats. The details are pretty sharp, so we'll just have to adjust the light and the shadows. Starting with exposure, the bird is a bit dark by default, so even if we add light, you can see up here in this histogram, the bird is not really affected by it. So for that, we'll have to play around with the highlights and the shadows. This looks like a backlit image right now, but we can reduce the highlights all the way if you want, and then the shadows will be enhanced. The more light that falls on this bird, the more reflective its feathers are. So as we were shooting this bird in under a cloudy sky, he was not properly exposed, and I don't want a lot of noise, so still you can see there's a lot of noise here. ISO is at 2000, so if I would have gone any further, I would have lost all the details. I think this is fine. We'll reduce the whites as well. The blacks can stay the same, but if you want less darkened areas, then you can adjust the slider as well. I'll keep it at 0. Once you double click on any slider, it resets back to 0. So that's a small tip. I won't increase the texture here. Once we edit the subject individually, we'll play around with it. Right now I'll keep it at 0. Texture somehow adds a little bit of noise to the image, so we don't want that for the entire image. Clarity maybe a little bit, and dehaze to sharpen the image. Dehaze also changes the temperature and tint a bit, so you can see if we go into the negative, the image becomes a little warmer, and if we go in the positive, it becomes a bit cooler. Cool. After this, we can again go to the temperature and tint and adjust that up according to our likes. So a little bit of warm tone is nice looking, and I'll also move the greens, increase the greens a bit, so the background looks pleasant. Moving on, vibrance adds vibrance to the image, to the colors rather. Can you see the difference here? Yeah, I think anywhere around 20 is fine, and saturation maybe close to 9 or 10, not above that. It ruins the details and your eyes as well. 7 should do. Then comes the curves. So if you feel there's still not enough green, you can go to the individual channels and adjust the greens. So we have greens in the shadows, which we can pull towards the reds or push towards the greens. I don't want that, so I'll just adjust the basic curves. Again, pulling down the highlights. You can see in the sliders below here, you can do this way as well. Light is fine. The darks can be a bit lighter, and the shadows as well, not too much. Moving on, the details. So ignore the background noises, please. There are people still using the road next to my house, so I'm recording this quite late in the evening, but still there is a lot of noise outside, so please ignore that. Okay, sharpening. So these are the defaults for sharpening. If you press Alt on your keyboard and then move the slider, you get to see how much area of the image is affected with the masking, particularly for slider of the sharpening tool. So the black values are not affected, and anything that is white is sharpened. So it's around the subject and the flowers as well, so that looks good. Then same with the noise reduction, but I want to show you, if you add noise reduction here, you lose the details. So again, I'm pressing Alt and dragging the slider. I don't want to lose too many details, like it makes the image very smooth. I want to keep it somewhere around 20. Yeah, this looks good. Same with the contrast, pressing Alt and dragging it. That's about it for noise reduction right now. If I go too overboard, the details will be lost, and there are a lot of plugins, add-ons for noise reduction for Photoshop or Lightroom as well, so you can try those out, but right now I don't think I need that. And then there is color mixer, which I don't usually use. So in this image particularly, you can see the background is quite well lit, probably better lit than the subject. So there's an option here called luminance. If you adjust individual colors, like for instance we have green in the background, if I reduce the luminance on green, the image will get darker, which is a nice tool for any image, probably landscape, where you can adjust the sky colors and whatnot. Here I think a little bit of less luminance should work for the greens, and same we can do with the reds on the bird. So if I move this area gets affected a lot, and some of the flowers are over here. But I think I'll keep it at 0. Saturation as well, same for the individual colors that we have here. The bird is saturated enough, so that's color mixer for you. There is also option for hue, where you can change the greens to blues and yellows. I'm talking more about the greens here because most of our image consists of the green color, so whichever color you want to adjust for the subject. If I change the red to orange or pink, that looks nice. A bit too saturated, unnatural as well. That's color mixer, which I don't usually use with a lot of images. Split toning is for highlights and shadows, like it says here. You can give individual or a particular color to the highlights and shadows and the balance of the overall image. I don't want to do that, so I don't usually touch this. Chromatic aberration is, with older versions of the cameras, there would be some places where the edges have a pink, purplish pink color or a greenish color. So if you check this, then the camera raw filter removes that effect or that distortion in the image. There are settings to it, but there's no need to do that. You can go into manual and try that, but just checking it should do. Then for profile correction, we have individual manufacturers for each type of lenses available out there. I've shot this on the Sigma 150-600 contemporary. I chose Sigma and the rest of the settings are applied by the software. Distortion, you can see it distorts a bit because of the lens diameter and size. For almost each lens it affects differently on the image, so you can do that manually, but this software gives you that option as well. Vignetting is something that I've recently started enjoying a lot. So if you don't like what you see with the default settings, you can always go back and change it. That's about it for optics. Geometry is for landscapes or getting your perspective right if you are shooting architecture or some sort of product. Effects are again vignetting and grain. Grain we don't need, we have already enough grain in here, and this is vignetting. Maybe a little bit. Calibration by default is at version 5. I'm using Photoshop 2020, so it's updated. Whatever version you have, the version of the calibration changes accordingly, so I don't really touch any of these sliders as well. So these are the basic settings that I do. Again, you can play with the temperature as per your likes. I always feel that a little bit of warmth in the image always looks good, but some people might like the blue tones as well, so it depends individually what you think about it, about each image. Okay, so after this, what we do is we want to separate the background and our subject. So we go to the radial filter, we draw a filter, a mask around our subject. I'm thinking whether I should include the flower as well, but it will be a big mask, so I'm just going to concentrate on the bird here. We can move this anywhere we want, rotate it from the edges, and of course scale it up and down. Once you're happy with the mask, it affects whatever is inside the mask. So if you see here, this will affect the bird. Contrast, all these settings are quite basic here, so you can play along with them. Highlights, again, we don't need a lot. Shadows, maybe, yeah. There's like a jawline to this bird with a purple reflective feathers, which looks really unique if light falls on it perfectly, but only this part is lit here. This is all in shadow, so I don't think we'll get that effect here like we see on the top of his head. Okay, the whites are fine. Blacks, okay. Now as we are affecting everything that's inside the mask, I want to add some texture to the image because it adds a bit of sharpness as well. So as you can see here, it affects our subject a lot. So this texture tool is a new addition to 2019 and 2020, I think. Previously I don't think I have seen this. So yeah, this looks good. Same with clarity. Again, we are applying a bit of clarity to our subject, which also adds sharpness. And then dehaze, I don't like this change in the tint, so maybe I won't apply it. Actually looks good on the negative, right? We'll keep it at 0. I won't touch the saturation again because it's looking quite bright right now. Sharpness, yes, we need some sharpness. Noise reduction, maybe I shouldn't. Yeah, no, maybe at 0. Moire reduction. I don't know how much it affects the image, so oh, it does affect. Okay, yeah, it's also losing the details, so no moire for me. Okay, these are the edits for particular mask, the radial filter that we have applied, and then we can select the eraser, control the size with the bracket keys, and erase out anything that we don't want, don't like. There are options for size, feather and flow over here. And you can clear all your brush strokes with the clear key. So this looks fine to me. We'll go back to edit. Another tip here is, if you hover over any tool, you get to see the name of the tool and the shortcut. So this is another filter called graduated filter. It's the same way as the radial filter, but it's in a graduated way. So it starts from one point and ends to the other point. So from green to red, the mask will be applied, and it will be a gradual way that it gets applied. So usually this mask is used for landscapes and skies. I don't need it here, so I'll press Ctrl Z and it clears out. The bird is looking much better now, so we'll go back to edit. I'll show you the before and after. So there's a key below the backspace key. It's a backward slash. So if you press that, you get to see the before and the after. That's a very huge difference that post-processing allows you to get good results on. Yeah, looks pretty cool. The background is a bit disturbing, but it really doesn't matter as far as the subject is well in focus and well lit. There is another way to address that. So we are back with the radial filter. I'll draw filter again, this time a bit bigger than what we have for the subject, and this is the first one, the current one. This is the first one. You can see how it was affecting the image, and this one we can move along again anywhere we want. So I'll place it somewhere here, and this time I'll check the invert box. So now what invert does is affects everything outside the mask, same with which was affecting originally inside the mask. So I'll bring down the exposure because then it gives a nice vignette to the image. It depends how much you would like for your image. I like it a bit strong, so this looks nice. I'll also add some contrast, reduce the highlights and darken the shadows as well, because we want all our focus on the subject. Same with the whites, we don't need whites, and blacks can be darker actually, not so much but just enough. Okay, this looks good. Now texture, I can go into the negative with texture, and indirectly it will affect my ISO sensitivity, the noise in the image as well, so that's a good option to try. Then there is clarity, with which we can go in the negative as well. It adds a bit of blur as well, so you can see if there is bokeh in the background, usually you don't add clarity to the image then. And dehaze again changes the hue and temperature, tint, whatever you want to call it. So I'm not sure which way I would like to go. Maybe in the plus, and then go back and add some yellows, greens also. Okay, so far so good. Saturation, I can actually reduce the saturation so the bird or our subject pops up even more, but I don't want to go too overboard with it. Maybe I should include our flower as well. Yeah, so the saturation shouldn't affect it, but it's close to the edge, so it's a feather edge and it's affecting the flower, so not too much sharpening. I can go into the negative and it de-sharpens the image and adds more sharpness to the subject because we have added sharpness. Noise reduction is yes, I will add noise reduction because I don't want a lot of details in the rest of the image and a lot of noise as well, so the higher you go, the smoother the image will look. Adjusting the mask to fit in our focus better. Okay, Moire also reduces details, so yes please. Diffringe, I'm yet to explore this tool, so we'll leave it at 0. We'll press E or go back to edit, and this is how it looks so far. The before, very flat, very dull and underexposed, and the after pops out the eyes and the body of the bird, bright colors, and the focus is right on the subject and the attention goes straight to it. I feel the flower is a bit distracting, but it's okay. Bird is much more beautiful. Okay, I think that's about it. Then you can press open and Photoshop opens the image. You can add your watermark. If you've used Photoshop before, that's pretty easy. Other option before doing that is crop and rotate. Okay, I think I'll show you how I clean up the image as well. So we'll open this image now. Okay, now the image is open. As you can see here, it's noisy on the subject, but it gets smooth as we go towards the edges because we have added the radial filter and it's worked out quite well in our case. This part is smooth again, and as we go to the subject, this one looks sharp and noisy. That's the benefit of adjusting the radial filter or using the radial filter. Okay, so as I was saying before, I would like to remove this portion of the image. Well, not the image, but this part which is a bit distracting right now. This side is still of the same color, so it really won't affect the attention of the viewer. It goes right to the flower or the subject, that is the sunbird here. So I'll show you how I remove this. We'll select the original layer, press Ctrl J, which is the shortcut to duplicate. You can go and select duplicate layer as well. Shortcuts are important, they help you speed up your process. So again, selecting the lasso tool. This is the polygonal lasso tool. Any lasso tool or selection tool is fine. Shortcut is L, so I'll go and click and select everything that I want to remove. Okay, there's a selection here. Now if I press Shift F5, this is the content aware fill. If it's not on content aware, then it will add some foreground, background or any other color, pattern history, anything that you want. But content aware adds parts from the image which will help to copy the pixels and won't look artificial. Color adaptation is checked, so the colors will also match. The blending mode is normal and the opacity is 100%. We don't need any transparency, so I'll press OK and Photoshop will do its magic. And it's gone. Literally 2 clicks. We press Ctrl D to release the selection, V to get the selection tool, and that's it. I thought I would get some parts of this of the wings from here to here copied, but I'm impressed Photoshop has done this seamlessly, and now this portion looks more attractive than this side of the image. So maybe we'll try to remove this stem like thing. Again, trying the content aware tool, selecting our layer, clicking L to get the lasso tool, drawing a rough selection around our problematic portion, pressing Shift F5, all the settings stay the same. OK, and Photoshop, do the magic. Didn't work. Damn. Now in this case we can go to stamp tool, alt press and brush out individual parts which we don't like or you would want to change if you're not happy with the result, like in our case. But it's a bit of a tedious process, so I'm not going to be doing that. I just thought of showing you this. I think I'll crop the image even further now. Okay, if you're following me on Patreon, you'll get first access to this video. Yeah, this frame is nice. So if you're framing or reframing in our case, try to get your subject on any of these corners, pluses, or on the line or in the center. It appeals more to the viewer, as the subject in our case is looking towards the left, so I'm leaving a lot of space here. And now that we don't have anything on the right, we can crop as much as we like. Of course not the subject. So I think this looks good. Okay, I think this looks good. So here is the brush tool and I have my watermark ready. I can add it at 50% opacity over here and we are done. Thank you for watching. Please let me know what you think, and if you would like to see more of these walkthroughs or tutorials, comment below. I'll see you next time. Please subscribe if you haven't. 1000 is, I know, a very small number, but it's a very hard-earned number for me. So thank you very much. Please share the video and have a good time. Thank you. Bye bye.